Z-Speed back with a power steering fluid swap. Now this will work on any car, whether you got a Honda, Toyota, or Nissan, as long as your power steering fluid reservoir is located towards the front here. You can see in this K-Series engine right here, you've got a power steering fluid reservoir right in front, easy to access. And our old favorite, the 350Z, has even got a better located reservoir. It's really easy to access. It's right there in front. So we're going to show you how to swap out the fluid rather than draining anything. It's going to be a little more convenient. It won't be 100%, but it's going to be so easy that even your favorite pet, if he had hands, could probably help you do it. So let's get started. So the first thing I'd like you to do is put your car up on jack stands so we get the front wheels off the ground, and that will allow us to crank the steering wheel from lock to lock, and that will help push out a little more power steering fluid into the reservoir. We're starting off with a cold engine here, and you can check your fluid level before you even start, but it should be on the full level. Only other piece of equipment you'll need here is your trusty turkey baster that you can probably get from your drawer and or the local store, and an empty container to put the fluid, and that one's actually a little big. You don't really need a container that big. And the reservoir on the 350Z does not screw off, but it just pops straight up. So you don't have to screw it off, just pop it straight up and you're ready to go. And now we are ready to start evacuating some of the power steering fluid. You just want to be very careful at this point not to get it all over the engine bay and to keep all of it in the container, because it's can be corrosive and could damage some of your hoses and your paint. So be very careful. You might even want to tuck a rag around the reservoir, and that might keep you from making a mess. So what we're going to do is just go nice and slow and just methodically empty this entire reservoir here. Talk to you about the power steering fluid itself. We do not want to be mixing aftermarket power steering fluid with the original Nissan, since we're only doing a swap. And I wouldn't actually mix them even if we were doing a flush, because some of the aftermarket power steering fluids have chemical additives, sealers and flushes and conditioners, and it's just not a good idea to mix some aftermarket stuff that may not be compatible with the original Nissan power steering fluid. We may end up with trouble down the line and premature failure of the rack and pinion steering, and that's the last thing you want when you just want to freshen up your power steering fluid. So at this point you can see I've gotten just about all I can get with the turkey baster, and so I'm going to try to squeeze out a little bit more into the reservoir. And it's not too hard. At this point, all you have to do is crank your steering wheel from side to side, probably 3, 4, 5 times, and that will actually get a little bit more. I mean, it's not a lot, but every little bit counts, because we're trying to get as much out as possible for this swap. And it's going to take us 3 times to completely swap this power steering fluid, because that reservoir holds 1/3 of the total volume to the rack and pinion steering. So that is why we'll end up doing it 3 times. And so I was able to squeak out just a little bit more fluid by cranking the wheels from side to side, and like we said, every little bit counts here. So now we've got it as empty as we're going to get it, and we're ready to put the new fluid in that we talked about. And of course, I told you that I got the original Nissan power steering fluid from my local dealer. So now we're ready to refill the reservoir here. But to be very careful, I had a little ant get into my reservoir. I don't know how he got in there, but he was walking along the edge. You do not want any bugs or debris in your power steering fluid reservoir whatsoever, because that could damage things. So now we're going to be very careful, and we're going to fill it all the way back up to the full line very carefully, and we're going to not spill any fluid anywhere. Okay, now that I got the power steering fluid a little above the level, I've gone back into the car and I'm cranking my wheels from side to side again 4 or 5 more times, and you can see the power steering fluid fluctuate right here, and it's actually sucking some of it up into the rack and pinion steering, and it's bringing the level down right perfect to the full line, and I'm pretty happy about that. I guess that went perfect. And now we're just ready to put the reservoir cap, pop it back on, and we're all done with the first part of the procedure. Like I said, we're going to do it a total of 3 times, and this is just 1/3 of the fluid that you're going to end up getting out. So we're going to drive around for a week like we talked about earlier, and we're going to do the fluid swap again, and then a week later after that you'll do the last fluid swap, and you'll probably get about 85 to 90% of the fluid changed out that way, and that will totally freshen up your power steering fluid. So if this helped, please like and subscribe, and Z-Speed will be back with another one. And just remember, keep on repairing.